Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.
En noviembre tendremos el segundo disco larga duración de Snail Mail bajo el título de Valentine, que va a presentar la discográfica Matador Records. Y para platicar los detalles de esta nueva placa, tenemos el gusto de conectar con esta videollamada con Lindsay Jordan. Hola, Lindsay.
What's up? Hi.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Lindsay, where are you right now?
I am in Manhattan right now. How about you?
I'm in Guadalajara, Mexico. Have you been here?
I haven't. I've been to Mexico City. That's it.
You have to come to Guadalajara and other cities in Mexico to play your new album.
I would love that.
So, Lindsay, we are days away from the release of your new album. You make this record of Valentine in pre-pandemic times, correct?
Yes. Well, pre-pandemic and during the pandemic. So, yep.
How important was for you the develop of the lyrics of this album? Because you have a review of very different emotions, feelings. I found a very diverse kind of sharing feelings.
Thank you. Yeah, I just have been, I think the lyrics were like one of the more arduous parts of the process because I put a little more pressure on myself, I think, this time. And like, I am just looking to be more of like a serious musician and writer. And so I've just been taking that part of the craft really seriously. And every time I read something that inspires me or hear something that inspires me or see something that inspires me, I've taken like a note of it and just tried to sort of incorporate the things that inspire me into just like growing as a writer. And I think the lyrics like it didn't take the longest out of everything, but I definitely am really strict with myself about them and very, just very like meticulous. So they definitely took me a long time. It was a big part of like the process.
It was different, the process between your two albums, because you're a very young artist, but when you released your debut album, you were even younger, right?
Yes. So I was 18, I think, when the first record came out, Lush. And this record, the process was different. First of all, because we were on tour for several years, like, and finding time to like be alone to write was really difficult because I feel too like self-conscious to try to work on lyrics around other people. So I have to just be in complete privacy to really like test things out. And so I was coming up with ideas like along the way on tour and like writing them down, but I would lose my inspiration, I feel like, and it didn't really, the songs didn't really start to like take shape. Like there was maybe 3 or 4 written before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I was like stuck in my parents' house for several months. And I found that having nothing to do and just being by myself and alone, like inspired me more than anything else to just like want to work. And I like, there was just a lot of, the editing process was just a lot. I was a lot more difficult on myself and I was more involved in the producing. So the demos were all really fleshed out on Logic, just me and a keyboard and a guitar and a mic. And a lot of that ended up in the final, which is actually not how Lush was. You know, I did a lot of those demos just on voice memo and wasn't so interested in the producing side of stuff. So just having a lot more involvement and everything just made it more complicated and also I think better. Like I like it so much more because I just did, you know, so much of it was just coming from my brain. So like it makes more sense. I think that I like it more.
And I think that you reflect that in the album. I have the opportunity to listen, love it. I found amazing songs, and most important, I found a narrative in this full length album. Because when you make a record, a full length record, you have a concept, you have a narrative. The songs have connections, right?
Mm.
What what do you try to find with this narrative, with this new collection of songs? What's the concept around Valentine?
So that's a complex one. I think that the narrative it was formed pretty subconsciously. I think like one of the interesting things that maybe you'll notice, or maybe you've already noticed, is that a lot of the stages of grief are being represented. And that was all subconscious, just processing things and working through them directly while I was writing and recording. So a lot of those feelings are like lightning in a bottle. Like I had them and then I captured them as quick as I possibly could. And I think just a lot of the songs like have really intense individual narratives that fit together as a collective, because it's sort of all about like processing like love and heartbreak and growth and making mistakes and all that stuff, like
Yes.
in a period of time that is so transitional as it is. So like, you know, I felt like a lot of the experience that I was drawing from happened when I wasn't on the road. And like anytime that I was home, just like living life, is when I was inspired, you know? So it's like real experience, and all of the songs are about super specific instances. I might as well have names, you know, like listed in all of the songs, like the way there's a song called Mia, because it's just, yeah, it's very like true to life for me.
Yes, I mean, when I talk about a narrative and a concept, I mean that I found these different emotions, these different feelings, these different topics that, of course, are part of you, of who you are, or what you are trying to find in the life, right? No, not as as an book that has an story to tell, but in your album, I found these all emotions that make you, right?
Yeah, totally. It's very autobiographical. I think like I was trying to be conscious of not stepping outside of myself, really. Like I feel like there's not characters, there aren't like super steep metaphors to try to like figure out. It's a lot. There are some, you know, and there are like some moments of like where it's more interpretive than in other moments, but I think for the most part it's just like all about me. It's another diary entry type album.
Was it hard for you to share these feelings? Because you express very personal stories, and maybe not all the people, including me, are. It's so easy to share these emotions with other people, right? Not only your friends, but and unknown people. I know that your fans love your music, but you share your emotions with who knows who, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a really tough part of the process, because putting yourself out there like that is like allowing people to have opinions on like your personal work, you know, and like having music that's really personal and like lyrics that are really personal is basically like, not only am I putting my work out there to be judged, but I'm also putting myself out there. And a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is it's hard to talk about. A lot of it's like really loaded and nuanced and like painful to even talk about for me still. So then to like, you know, sing about it is like it's like an act of masochism. I'm always like, I wonder what it is that makes me keep doing this. But I think just writing music that's like emotionally driven and extremely personal, like with a lot of personal meaning, feels just like a lot more sincere to me than like trying to come off a certain way or like sing about something that I want to sing about. Like more so I'm just like, all right, like this is me, this is what I have to offer, and like this is, yeah, like totally such an intense window into who I am. But then, you know, I just try to ignore, I don't have social media or anything, so I don't have like, I try to just avoid all of the like criticism and also the good stuff sometimes too, because it can like make me feel less sharp.
Uh, so, Lindsay, you work with Brad Cook, right? To make the album. How was working with him?
He's awesome. One of my favorite things about working with Brad is that he's just like very calm and collected, and he has such great taste and intuition. I think I like really admire a lot of the records that he's worked on. And then when I got to know him personally, I realized we just had this like amazing connection where just like we spent so much time just hanging out and not working on music, just chilling and like watching, you know, TV and talking and yeah, just staying up late talking and playing Xbox. And I just felt like now he's one of my best friends. And it was like such a treat to be able to like work with him. And it was very low pressure. Like I felt like even though the project is very high pressure to me, I take Snail Mail incredibly seriously. And it being the sophomore record, makes it even more pressing. I still felt in that environment like comfortable with taking chances and like, you know, singing something where I'm like, I don't necessarily know if this song is embarrassing or like if it's really where it needs to be. Like I felt comfortable being vulnerable enough to like be not perfect around him, which is like a challenge for me usually. And he was like so encouraging about me having like a producer role, which I think is really hard to come by. Usually people don't want you in their kitchen like teaching them how to cook, you know, but I need somebody like that.
So Lindsay, you will release the album Valentine on November 5th through Matador Records, right?
Yeah.
It's an amazing label.
Yeah, I love Matador.
We will have the new album of Snail Mail on November 5 on all digital platforms. You will publish the album on vinyl or CD?
It is coming out on vinyl and CD.
You can bring with you the vinyl or the CD when you come to Mexico to play, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
When will you come to Mexico, Lindsay?
Oh my gosh, as soon as I can. I really want to go. I've barely seen any of it, so as soon as I can.
You have to come because you are a few hours away from Mexico. And as we said at the beginning of the interview, you have to come to Guadalajara and Monterrey and other cities to play your music, to be in touch with your fans. I'm pretty sure that you will have a blast when you come to Mexico.
I know I will. It's going to happen. It's totally going to happen for sure. I can't wait.
Looking forward to see you here live in Mexico. In the meantime, we will listen Valentine, the new album of Snail Mail, on November 5th. Lindsay, congratulations for the album and thank you so much for this chat with Rutas Alternas.
Cool, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.